here with the first map of the last series of the day. It is the pick of Torque. It's going to be on Nuke. Let's see if you have to play this map with their current fire Torque just a couple of times. And they'll be looking to put it to use to see if they can't get an advantage in this best of 3. As we are now getting live with Torque being on the T side to kick this off.
And they're already setting up to abuse those new vents like I was talking about. AZK throws 2 flashbangs in, and it is a quick run and in through the hut. They still have presence up in heaven, though, so Torque aren't out of the woods quite yet. And in fact, the bomb has fallen behind the silos. A 4-on-4, and Torque hitting the hard brakes right now as Ye comes in, and they are now surrounded on this site. There's players in Mini, there's players in heaven, and players out towards the front lobby, but they're fighting as they will. 1v2 right now. Android up above, taking the 1v1 that currently stands against Steel, but reinforcements are arriving. Android takes the first, and now Swag as well. Straight through, right in between the silos, and the luck of the Irish for the day gives CompLexity the first round.
I mean, Android hit some nutty shots with the USP right there at the end. He had a little bit of a flub against Steel at first in the site and dropped down. I thought he was putting himself in a rough spot in the 1v2 in the site, but hits a juicy one-tap through the silos to end it. Winds up with 4 on the round, it's all said and done. So the quick upper push from Torque did not quite pan out. It looked good at first, but CompLexity were able to recover and started shutting it down. And now we do see Torque going with the CZ armor buys. Smokes outside, looking to perhaps get into secret and work towards lower, which was a popular strat even on the older version of Nuke.
Oh yeah, nothing's changed out there yet. So Def right now is going to get caught with a grenade. It's a lot of pistols to get in real tight. Timing is favoring Torque so far. Swag is being left on the back lines. And look at Kusta taking that MP9. Android is above on the catwalk right now. They know his position. He lands the shot while still midair. Kusta falls, and he has support directly above him, but Peter's body's going to collapse in behind him, and the Cubbies in Steel's shoes, his steel-toe boots, or sell his position out on the edge of that smoke. 2-on-3, a smoke onto the bomb, and Android's going to touch it. Is he going to hold it, though? 2 seconds, he throws a flashbang. 1 second, he diffuses it in the smoke. I think there may have been some knives coming around, but they could not find him until the very end.
Yeah, I'm sure Torque are a little bit tilted about that. That's around they probably feel they should have gotten. I mean, they were doing really great work getting into lower, getting that bomb down, and then they lose a 3-on-1 clutch to a guy diffusing inside of a smoke. So definitely a tough pill to swallow, I'm sure, if you're Torque. But because they got the plant, they're going to force right back up again. They know that the money should be really low on the CT side. They survived with everyone had to rebuy. They survived with 0 members. Once the defuse was completed, Android was killed.
Oh, yeah.
So, because they know the money's low, they're going to try to hunt after them. And an aggressive push from CompLexity here into the lobby area. So far, an equal footing from the trades.
Swag rounds that corner. That's going to prevent CompLexity from recovering that AK that they killed out of AZK. And there's, of course, no catwalk to wrap all the way around. So, the number 8 player, Kusta, is going to have to remain on top of Mini right now.
To be fair, there's like the other impact of it where there's less spots from CTs to play from defending outside. Like you can't get elevation over the smoke wall, for example, to defend like a secret push.
Unless you're a little bit more powerful. Oh man, that was baited so hard. Android has a target-rich environment as he looks outside, and these CZs are just tap-tap. 2 quick ones out of the barrel.
You know, that's one thing we didn't mention in pregame. We talked a lot, but Steel is actually probably one of the better fragging and game leaders in the region. So that's something to keep an eye on going forward. As Polio clears out Finesse, and now it's all left to Peter, who seems like the odds are stacked against him. He will get taken out there by Swag. So Torque, all the force buying does wind up panning out. It was a worthwhile risk. And
it was a minimal risk.
They get the goal. Yeah, exactly. It was worthwhile because it was minimal, and, well, it worked out in the end, so it makes it even better, of course.
Yeah, they had 3 surviving after that bomb plant as well. And no CT survived as well. So, like, even if there was no surviving Torque players, you still can think about
force buy as it gets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a tap-in. So, CompLexity now are also going to buy up into this, feeling that Torque's economy is not all that hot. 4,600 at best. That's in Pollo's hands. Torque to take out side control right now. AZK's up on top of the marshmallow, peering around. But CompLexity are going to get a little bit cheeky, at least into ramp room. They're going to boost a player up on top of the boxes for that tight right angle. Maybe that catches one player out. But CompLexity have a decent amount riding on this round. Not only is it the tying round, possibly, but Torque should be able to catapult themselves into a couple more rounds after this, as well as the CT economy won't be able to recover nearly as quickly.
Yeah, we do see Steel and company just getting up on top of Mini here and looking into Big Garage, starting to clear out. Some smoke's going up. block some vision so they can start controlling the CT side of outside. Finesse was spotted in heaven by Steel. He will retreat back. We do see Tort looking to set up for some type of inner execute. They're going to split from multiple angles to do it as well.
They break open the locker windows as well.
I think that's intentional, is to keep Finesse biting on this. Like, now he has to worry about getting flanked.
Yeah, he's looking down while Steel takes the high road. FNS is there, spotted as well. Flashbang a bit too far, but it does look like the execute is coming in through the squeaky door. They'll be able to overwhelm FNS and Death, but Yay with the CZ on a flank. He reassembles the CZ after finding some cover as well, and it's still a 2-on-2, but rifles in the hands currently for Torque only. There are plenty of weapons, though, to be able to recover, though the bomb...
that bomb, yeah, that's the worst
it's in CT
part.
control with 20 seconds, and Peter's going to come up from underneath.
This is going to be tough to get this bomb back. Yeah, he's actually backed off and kind of given it to them, but they got to worry about Peter, like you said, inside the vents, the snake in the grass that could come up and ruin everything, especially with such low time on the clock, but Swag does get the headshot.
This is it right here. Oh, if Ye was able to get out there and say there was just 1 second less, that would force Swag to plant the bomb on the front of the site in a really exposed position. And all he has to do is stop that bomb planter and stay in cover. And the round would have been Complexities. But Torqued are able to stop the onslaught as Complexity were able to throw a wrench in the spokes really quickly on that round. But they're back to pistols.
Yeah, it's like Torqued won the economic war, right? Like, it's kind of a slugfest till someone can win a couple of rounds in a row and really force the other team to finally concede and take a save, and Torque were on the winning end of that. So it is just USPs except for the one deagle of Def. Complexity looking just to stack the upper bomb site. Hope that a gamble will pay off, which, to be fair, that's really your only way to win a round like this. It's to kind of gamble, stack, or do some type of crazy push, some type of gimmick. But Torque using that smoke wall to get into secrets.
Yeah, and it's with this being Nuke, is completely top-down map. You can even rotate really quickly, but it does revolve around a lot of vent control if you're going to stack the A site. This grenade should hit home, and it does. FNS will catapult it in the garage. It looks like Swag's just taking them out here piece by piece, one at a time. They're not willing to peek at him like a quad peek. He throws a flashbang up. He'll find an easy 4.
Could even get the ace here. Last one is heaven. He does beat Def down 34 and does get the ace. One of those things where Torque just focused on getting a secret control with 3 players, and they left Swag behind, knowing that people would probably try to flank them on an eco round like this. They also had AZK watching their, lobby area as well. So they basically had all their bases covered. They weren't going to get flanked. They weren't going to get surprised, and they had the superior firepower to take into lower. So just good discipline CS from Torque, gets them around, but now Complexity is back onto a full buy with rifles, though it does lack a kit. There's also no AWP, and utility is low, so this means that upper push can be very likely, and here it comes.
So fast. They have to worry about what's above them, though. Android is able to duck and cover, takes a quarter damage, and a grenade and molly is going to keep him at bay. Another molly for the mini side as well. Now Torqued have a sight, and it is early enough. Silver lining for Complexity side is they have utility now for a retake, though no kit. 3 players outside right now of Mini. Kusta would be the front liner, I believe, on that one, but Poyo is behind the box now on site. Hopefully this isn't a staggered push like we were seeing on that last eco round for Complexity. They need to come in here all at the same time. As AZK picks up that first one, your 3-prong becomes a 2-prong with Ye up in the heaven side right now, and he's pulled down. Now it's all one-dimensional, it seems. Kusta catching Def, wrapping around through the smoke. Def is there. Pieced together very well for Torqued on their hold. They had players in boxes. They had players behind Ninja. They had players over towards the lobby side as well. So there wasn't...
just textbook CS, man. I mean, that's really all there is to it. Like, that's literally Steel making the perfect read on the economy. He knows Complexity has a weak economy. He knows they're not going to be able to afford incendiaries to stop a fast upper push like that. And so that's the call that he makes. I mean, and again, notice how drilled this team is under Steel's leadership. Like, their smokes and Molotovs were perfect. Their flashes were really good. They pushed together, and then, yeah, like you were just touching on, the post-plant positioning was great. So that's just textbook discipline CS from Torque. That's what I expect to see from a Steel team.
Yeah, everybody was holding their respective angles, and nobody was trying to get greedy and take a little bit of extra responsibility, which ends up thinning your defense in one way or another. So Complexity are back to pistols. Def, the only player with armor right now, and he's in the vent with a CZ. It looks like everybody else is staggered about, but for the most part, at least on the lower side. So went from an upper stack to a lower stack this time. FNS is in the locker room. He might be the most elevated player on Complexity side. And Torqued are doing same thing, but it can get dangerous. Torqued have players that are split apart from one another. If a pistol manages to steal a rifle, a lot of times if you're going to lose an anti-eco, that's how it all starts, you know? The rifle then becomes paramount and starts picking off players one by one.
Android looking to come up the lurk, though, through Secret with the Deagle. Has several players with him, and Android is finding the headshots he needs to make this round possible for CompLexity. Torque still do get the bomb down, but now they're in a 3-on-5 post plant. Much worse than the situation they found themselves in the last round, which they won off of. Vanessa's going for that flank into heaven. This could be very tricky to deal with. They have a couple of AKs in their hands now as well on the CompLexity side.
They're going to put those pistols vulnerable side, and if they lose a couple players on the entry on this, they might back off and save the rifles, because they have no kits. Instead, they walk their way in. Kusta takes 2, now 3, and Steel takes 2 as well. So good coordination from CompLexity to get into that site, but as it stood there, say they killed all but 1 from Torqued's player list, you know, it's still not enough time to be able to defuse that bomb. It needed to be perfect. They needed to completely team wipe them and have somebody go directly to the bomb.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, the only thing they had going for them was that they had a man advantage and that they were able to collect a couple of AKs. And Def actually did have, like, half armor behind his AK. But like you said, they didn't have kits or utility, so they had to work fast if they wanted a chance to win the round. Despite the fact they were in a 5-on-3, you'd like to favor their chances at that point, but still had some things that were going against them. And it ultimately does wind up not going their way. It's now Torque will shift their focus towards a heavier ramp room push. Haven't seen that yet, and Kusa gets a nice entry onto Ye right off the bat. That'll certainly help things along.
The CTs are clambering down the vents right now. They'll be able to get in here. Peter was blocked off from a molly that was towards the ramp room, but you already have CTs down below, and catches Steel with the bomb in hand. It's down again. Torque has been in the same situation before. Swag struggling with Android more than he'd like, and look at the health that remains for Torque. Everybody's sub 10.
Oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen this before.
It's going to be a stiff breeze that takes Torque down right now. It was a 2-on-4, now 2-on-3. CT's own the bomb.
I don't think I've ever seen a round where literally 4 people had like 5 or 6 health max. I mean, sometimes you'll have a couple of players who are really low, but literally, like you said, everyone on Torque is bleeding out. This is incredible that they're still alive. Can they actually do anything? Poyo catches Finesse inside the vents. They may still somehow win this round, despite the fact that 4 people collectively only had like 20 HP between them. This is unreal.
Yeah, we gotta watch out. Good thing they're not on the upper site. You could end up having somebody fall off the rafters and kill themselves.
This would be crater galore. You could probably still die just jumping off the rafters and lower with that much health.
If you duck, yeah, ducking your jump. But it's Peter in a 1v3, and man, he wishes that he had an HE.
Imagine if you're CompLexity and you go back and watch this round back on like a demo or VOD, and you realize what you had.
What are the comms like?
The
comms are probably like, I dinked him. I dinked him too. I dinked him too. It's like they're all low. So Peter gets an AWP, and he'll be able to run and scatter out of this one. It does look like there's a pursuit. But if that pursuit continues, like, Peter could just use his pistol to keep these guys down. Look at the calls, HP.
I wonder if Torque will tell him.
Yeah.
Bro, we all had like 5 or 6 HP.
Bad.
Six, Steel does tell them 6, 6, and 5. Android with the thank you. And now they know, and they're probably like, maybe it's better they didn't know, you know? Like, when you're that close.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just dinks aplenty, man. It's rough. Who was it? It was on Cash. It was it Freakazoid calling his teammates liars for the call? He's like, he's headshot. He's dinked. Liars.
Yeah, that was a clutch he got on Cash when he used to play with Shroud and Cloud9. Remember those days. Anyway. We're into another full buy from CompLexity now, including an AWP in the hands of Peter. They are getting aggressive inside ramp room. Actually, have pushed into radio, looking to maybe flank into lobby eventually. So getting a little bit of map control on the CT side, but it's a full outer play from Torqued. Just AZK left behind to watch the lobby push.
There's a quick job right there. That'll catch Ye getting aggressive towards the lobby. Be able to slap his wrist and keep him at bay. And it does look like Torque now are willing, after that first kill, to take some pretty dry peeks into the site. It's usually a team that's very diligent about using utility first, just like this. Android catches a flashbang, but it hits just behind him, or he turns away from it. Steel will now be able to guide his troops from the bench.
It's into a 2-on-2 though, so Torque still has a fighting chance in this one. It's all about Peter's flank around. Does spot AZK in the squeaky hall. Finds that kill. Swag now has to try to clutch the 1v2, and well, Swag has been known as Mr. Clutch throughout his career.
He
We'll
could
get
do
that
this.
bomb planted.
But Android's going to be the biggest task. Peter even upgrades to an AK. Oh, they're both so close. Swag takes one. Swag takes two. Oh my
There he
goodness.
is.
That's classic.
There he is. Yeah, a lot of people were a little bit worried because Swag actually did have a pretty off event at CS Summit too. It was not up to snuff to what you expect from him, especially because he had filled in for Cloud9 for a couple of LAN tournaments when they needed someone, and he performed really, really well despite the fact he was out of competition for years, basically. But he certainly, still played a lot individually, kind of kept his skills up, and despite having a rough CS Summit event, he's been really good online for Torts for some time. And he's definitely having a good game here. Good clutch in that one.
This is a great read from Torqued right now anyways. I think it was Steel or Kusta. Somebody caught 4 or 5 grenades outside. They make the quick call to just move, get in there. But they're still taking 5 casualties.
Ooh.
Yay! With a dink. And now it's Kusta's turn to clutch. Def and Yay have a complete arsenal to choose from. There's AKs all over the place. I'm surprised they haven't managed to step on one yet. Def, though, on the flank, comes to the backside. And CompLexity end up winning a grenade stack round outside that didn't kill anybody, just wounded players. So it really just came down to that pistol anyway.
Yeah, it's probably around that Torque will feel like they should have gotten. Especially after they just worked hard for that 1v2 clutch in the previous round, and then they let that one slip through their fingers. But they still have a pretty solid amount of rounds for the T side of Nuke. Again, I don't really know what map sidedness on this version of Nuke is now, because I just feel like it hasn't been played enough. But I feel like the sentiment a lot of people were giving back was that it would go back to being a heavily CT sided map. But again, because there's no outside rafters, that also helps. I mean, yeah, it helped tease Rat Heaven faster, but it also helps CTs out a lot, and it's not there anymore. So I don't know. So we do have another fast upper push coming in, and Android so far doing a great job shutting it down. He strikes down 3.
Well, they're just going to sweep this round under the rug. You're right. Android just flatlining that initial push from Torqued. I think the only thing that started that way in was a flashbang and a Molotov that was in there. AZK 1v4 to 1-3. He knows where Android is. He knows where Ye is. But he does not know where the last player, Peter, is behind him. So he can't step back too far. Instead, it looks like just frontliners end up making the day anyway. 4-7. All on the back end of a little bit of an eco.
Yep. Yeah, I do think one of the things that certainly has hurt Terra, I think that hut window is actually really useful for terrorists to jump out of and get an angle on a CT playing mini. But to be fair, it also stops CTs from playing mini from staying inside of hut.
Yeah,
so
it goes both ways.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of things that kind of are pros and cons for both teams now with the changes. So again, it'll take some time to really kind of figure out where this map is headed. But Torque back onto a full buy with AKs across the board. So far, an equal trade as Kusa's taking out Finesse.
Oh, an innocent bystander Poyo was. The first player in that corner was the intended target, and Poyo got caught through the smoke. 2-on-4. Android peeks out, and his days were numbered finally, but not before he does a ton of damage to Swag, who's at 19. He'll stand up on top of the boxes and allow Kus to do a little bit of work up on the upper site. 2 ops, a little bit awkward. If they can prevent that bomb from being planted, sure. But if it does get planted, it's going to get real weird. And Ye defends that bomb in ramp room. So now Kusta, again, another 1v2 for Torque.
Hello. Awkward. That was awkward. That was real awkward, but somehow Kusta's the one who reels it in. And now it's down to the 1v1. Still a lot of time left, and he knows that Ye's got to be somewhere in ramp room defending this bomb. Well, he knows exactly where. Definitely not expecting that angle. As Ye's going to get up close with the AK to finish the job, and that's now 3 rounds in a row for CompLexity, so they're starting to get a little bit of something going here in the first half. Still playing from behind, still probably not where they want to be, but at least they're, preventing Torque from building too crazy of a lead.
I mean, Torque had enough money going into this 3-round spree from CompLexity to continually buy. And they've only had 1 bomb plant in those 3 rounds, and they know that they've just wounded CompLexity's economy every time. Steel plays the same role I believe he played in the last round. He plays incredibly fast into the vents. They lose Kusta on the front end of that one, but Steel now has the opportunity to work a little bit on the flank. He's into the site. He almost transfers to his teammate, and he picks up another one, though. Android's still doing work, as he has been throughout the match so far. 3 3-on-2, 2-on-1 all of a sudden.
I thought Steel had that headshot on the Ye, but Ye's the one who wins that duel, and now it's all on AZK to try to clutch a 1v2. Bomb down right in front of him. One player in heaven. I don't know where that second CT is. Is he in lobby?
He's way back there towards trophy room. So he's out of the picture right now. He's basically waiting to see if AZK grabs the bomb and runs off. But now that the smoke has blossomed, Peter's going to start to shift around a little bit. Ye doesn't necessarily need to peek this right now, but I think it's the correct call for AZK. Choose a direction and just sit it out and fight. Because how many without this window here, it's really one angle that can take him unless his legs get shot out from under him from the upper rafters, which Ye's searching for right now.
Ooh. Definitely a good duel for AZK to take, but Peter just winning the up-close battle with an AWP, so a good individual effort from Pete. Make sure that AZK doesn't get that one into dangerous waters. So it is now 6-7, complexity again. Starting to get a little bit of a rhythm going. Money's starting to get a little bit more strained on Torque for some of their players, but they still get a full buy into this one.
Man, that is a stretch of a dollar bill for Torque. 4 rounds they've lost in a row. They've been able to afford buys.
Yeah.
And they should be able to get the next one as well if they get
it certainly helped.
Bomb
They really haven't gone for an op ever. I
Right.
think the only time I've ever seen an op was maybe 1 round this whole half, so that's definitely helped them.
Kusta spotted the shoulder of Finesse, who was trying to sneak their way in. Now Peter gets winged, 16 HP. He's forced to fall back. There's plenty of places for him to defend from, though it does allow Torque to finally take one of these classic routes of just going down into the secret stairs. They've really just been trying this headbutt straight into the A site through squeaky doors and through hut. This one's a little bit, finally something a little bit different for flavors.
Yeah, this is like that same strat they were running in anti-ecos where they want to get lower, but they want to leave someone behind to watch to make sure no one flanks them, catch rotations outside, also leave one in lobby, watching for aggression there. So it's about making sure all their bases are covered, but the real effort, the real play they're going for is to get these entries towards back halls and open up something for their team. And so far, they're trading pretty efficiently. As I say that, though, complexity do even it right back up.
Well, Def puts his back to the wall in the vents, knowing that the site behind him is covered. He'll take one more, and it is all up to Steel. He's got bomb in tow, though. And, I mean, the bomb was spotted into the lower halls. So you see FNS is in the toxic room. Def is up behind the site. And then Ye's down here in ramp room as well. So Steel does have access to the upper site for free for right now. But the longer he waits, Complexity are going to start to recognize that it's likely what's going to end up happening. But they're playing this safe. Just play it together.
Yeah, Steel running out of time. He'd be lucky just to get a bomb plant at this point. He might be able to fit it depending on where he decides to plant at.
Oh, yeah. He'll get a bomb plant here.
Yeah.
Here they come. There's Def showing himself that he came up the vents. Everybody else taking different angles. And Steel actually needs to take this fight. He finally does. FNS and Ye both hold the high ground. And Ye will take the cowardly way out and shoot Steel in the back. And, well, that's what they intended. Steel made the right call right there. I would actually like to see him play a little bit more aggressive in that. A lot of times when you're outnumbered in a situation like that, you have to fight your way out of the wet paper bag. You have to choose one direction. Whether that direction is through hut or is through mini or what have you, you have to pick that direction and run. Because the longer you wait, the more that noose starts to tighten. And they'll paint you into a corner.
The double op for Complexity has been really successful. Ye's starting to heat up here. He's up to 14 kills. Android has been playing pretty well throughout the half. He's also still at 14 himself. So Complexity really starting to tighten up a little bit here on the defense. And it comes to the last round where Torque have max loss bonus, plus they got the bomb plant. So again, they're able to keep the good buys coming in. So Complexity have not had an easy round. Like every round they've won, it's been strained. And out of the 5 rounds they've won, Torque has planted in 3 of those 5 rounds. That's why the money has continued to flow for Torque. Come down to the wire several times. A lot of 3v3 mid-round situations throughout this half.
Yeah, a lot of 1v2s, especially for Torque. It really comes down to that. And it's a tough one to take, but you need to be able to trade a little bit more efficiently, like Complexity have been able to do. And that's really what has net them the past 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
So now Torque's last round tried to send some players down through the secret stairs. They've got Swag back here, but he's not looking to take the low road. Instead, he's coming back towards Mini.
Yep, indeed he is. So it looks like they want to go for this inner pinch again, with Swag trying to clear some angles from Mini. 3 CTs are in the area here. One up in the rafters. Finesse trying to hide, trying to buy time as his teammate on the floor is already out.
He hasn't been cleared. FNS got the first, and he's got some support in here as well. FNS takes 3 from the upper rafters. He just held and held and held and waited until he saw the whites of their eyes, or waited until some of his teammates were in a position to draw some of the attention away from him so that he could just be that extra element of confusion.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, if you're Swag sitting in Mini in the blink of an eye, your whole team died. Like, I mean, he's sitting here thinking, okay, like, we have the site. I just need to make sure we're not getting flanked from outer and kind of hold Mini. Maybe, you know, peek out if I need to trade someone who, like, pushes through heaven or something. But, yeah, like you said, Finesse was able to kind of just... was on the stone that was unturned, I guess you could say. Never got checked. Comes out when he needs to deliver a crushing blow. And so CompLexity, who were at one point down 7-2, and it was looking really, really rough for them, they win 6 in a row, and now they actually take the lead going into the second half. And here at halftime, we do want to remind you that we do have that giveaway going on it down below, so be sure to check out the graphics below the stream player. Let's get into that giveaway here from iBUYPOWER and all of our partners. Definitely appreciate all of you tuning in. And again, this is just day 1 of the tournament. We've had the semifinals and grand finals going on tomorrow. And this is just map 1 of this final quarterfinal. So at least one more map to go after this one.
And I just want to say as well that it's St. Patty's Day, ladies and gents. If maybe you want to feel a little bit extra lucky, change your chat color to green. Just saying. Type in ! giveaway. Get a little bit extra luck in there.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm a firm believer in St. Patty's Day. I mean, my birthday is 3 days away, man. We're
Fair
solid.
enough. Get double the celebration this month, I suppose, then.
Hell yeah.
We're just waiting for a few more players already up to get this second half started. Once again, just to remind you of the teams that made it through already, the first semifinal tomorrow is going to be Energy playing Rogue. And then Liquid is the team that beat Dignitas just before this, and they're waiting for the victor of this match in the semifinals that'll be played directly after Energy versus Rogue. Again, it's a $16,000 prize pool for this tournament, so not bad for just 1 weekend of play. And that is going to be, of course, the bulk of it going to the first place team, but certainly still a good amount of money up for grabs for just those who make the semifinals. If you're in the money right away if you make top 4. So
it's promising. I mean, that's everybody wants to go for the gold, though. I mean, it's going to be a stretch for both of these teams, no matter who advances. It's a long road.
Yeah, it's $10,000 for first place, and then $4K for second. Then third and fourth get $1,000 apiece. So, yeah, you play one best of 3, you win it. You're guaranteed at least a couple of $100 per player. So, not too bad.
Not too shabby at all. So, what do you think about the second half coming through? One thing that at least I know of Torqued is their T side is always stronger than their CT side. I haven't personally been able to see that on Nuke per se. But just from all maps, I'm assuming it's going to follow the same trend. You might actually see a little bit of a weaker half from Torqued. CompLexity might have an opportunity to run away with this.
Yeah, I don't know enough. It's like the mystery box, right? Like you get to see what's behind door number 1, and then you get to decide whether you want to keep that or choose what's behind door number 2, right? And door number 2, the mystery to me is CompLexity's Nuke in general, because they haven't played it at all. So I'd like to think that with this being Torqued's pick, and with them having actually played some official matches on it, and with them having secured more than enough rounds on T side to go ahead and win this thing, if you go by the traditional standards for how many rounds each side gets on Nuke typically, I would say that Torqued should probably still finish this one up.
Really?
I think 7 should have been plenty on their T side. The only thing that might hamper them is the fact that they'll probably feel like they slowed down way too much. Like to lose the last 6 rounds in a row is probably tough, you know. But yeah, still that getting 7 is more than enough for this map. At least if you go by old standards.
Right. Old standards. I'm wondering actually. I'd like to see. It's going to take more data points to actually see where Nuke ends up on the rebalance of its redesign. But I still think it's rather early. A lot of teams are still trying to feel it out and see where it actually stands, what that impact has on the catwalk and what the impact does on the window. But regardless, Complexity to the T side. 8-7 lead right now as the decoys are just chattering outside to themselves. And it looks like they want to try and take ramp room. If they do head towards ramp room, it's going to be AZK first, and then Kusta second. But he's actually left. He's going up into heaven right now. The execute comes through the doors, but that's only a ruse. In towards that A site, it looks like the first player is able to pick up a kill and then draw the attention upper while they head lower. Ye's just going to be remaining as kind of a man behind the lines. Did he cross over? I don't think he was spotted. Oh, yeah. Swag cats him. Executed to the back of the dome. They come down low. Bomb will be planted. Swag loses the fight against Android. It ends up with a 2v2, but the kit is still in play with a smoke. But Android's on the other side of those double doors. He opens up. It's only doing minor damage against those armored targets, and Kusta's on bomb. Poyo's there. Android's searching. He's searching for him, but another smoke diffuse. Similar to what we saw in the first half.
Oh, man, those pesky smoke diffuses. Oh, man, it was the second round of the first half where Android pulled it off. This time it comes in the pistol round from the torqued end of things. And so they do go ahead inside this one right back up. It was a good little fake from Complexity. I think it was like not a fake, but it was at the same time. Like they put pressure on upper shore, but I think the goal was to do like a vents ramp split on lower bomb site. But it had that added effect of keeping upper busy and opening up ramp a little bit. We do have Complexity doing a save. They got a bomb in the first round. Pollo getting that auto shot them out for that extra cash. I think Prince money. And still the SMG gets the extra cash bonus as well for SMG kills. So does AZK. So this is also one of the maps where shotguns actually work out pretty well. I think Hiko is like infamous for it.
Indeed. Yeah, Hiko with auto shot in the exact same spot. Actually, Pollo...
But Steel always was too, by the way. Like, Steel always used to use the shotgun a lot back when, you know, he was still playing. So, yeah.
Pollo actually will pull the auto shotty into maps and positions that you wouldn't typically anticipate him. Pollo will play Inferno, auto shotty on a site. Not in apartments, on a site. And he destroys with it.
Oh, did Def just see Swag do that? I think he might have saw him through the little tight crack he's got his crosshair on right now, so he may know that Swag's pushed up close. This is a full buy from Complexity. Remember, they got that first round bomb plant and they saved last, so Swag might be in some trouble.
Does he check? Oh, Peter checks for him. I think saving his life. It only took another foot in front of him, and the tides may have shifted into a 1-for-1 trade. So Swag and Steel down. And so far, Complexity are looking pretty healthy for themselves. 3 smokes and a ton of flashbangs. They can take this at their own pace.
And again, Complexity have a huge advantage already in this round thanks to some early picks on Swag and Steel, and they have full control of outside already, so certainly everything is lining up nicely for Complexity, and they have spotted Kusta Jiggle Peak in Heaven already as well. Attacked him, spamming him through the wall even, gets him down to 16 HP, he's barely alive. Cole look to maybe even flank Heaven here soon.
If they do... I think as it currently stands, there's a weakness, at least on the Heaven side. I just heard a step, though, up and outside, so it might be known. Kusta would be looking this direction. But Ye takes the first fight. Second player's up there. AZK with a lowly little MP7. Android and Ye are going to be pairing up. And Pollo again, auto shotty. Same, at least, general vicinity. 2 more kills with that. And Pollo's printing more money. Someone called the Secret Service.
Yeah, definitely. He's got $5,500. ATK at $5,100 thanks to some SMG kills he got. So money's actually still pretty good despite the fact that they've just been reset. He'll still able to full buy here for the most part. Steel will go with the CZ. But they have 2 kits. Everyone has got armor. They have decent utility. 4 M4s on the board. So this is not too shabby a situation to be in after you've been reset.
No, not too shabby at all. I think it's akin to the fact that it kept 4 alive.
Yeah, certainly.
Saving a little bit extra cash, but it is limping. No doubt about it. AZK and Pollo are the only players with some kits in the field, and Complexity are gearing up for a ramp hit right now. A 4th and soon to be a 5th being FNS, but what a fantastic grenade That comes in and does more than just chip damage. This is going to allow the M4s to get the same power as the AKs. They have one-shot headshot capabilities now against Ye, Peter, and Def.
Yeah, and AZK gets the hell out of there in Ramp Room after getting the information they were taking it. He decides to drop to lower sight. CompLexity, they're looking to get into hell. They do have a player in heaven, though, here on the CT side. I think that's Kusta, who will certainly be on the lookout for some type of flank up the ladder. But CompLexity is getting a lot of control right now. I mean, they're just working through outside, but Kusta peeks off. D's one, gets the kill, and spots a couple of more, so he has good information.
He knew he was in trouble. Kusta realized his mistake at the exact moment that he was shot in the back of the head. But still great work from Torqued here. A 4-for-1 trade, and FNS struggles to peek outside of the hut, rather, and it is a great round for Torqued. So the economy that was looking threatened on the endangered list rebounds back, and they're starting to look, especially now against CompLexity's economy, they'll end up, unless they lose like 3 or 4 bodies here, they'll end up with another insurance policy if they lose another rifle round.
And again, that's just, even though Kusta went down after only 1 frag, he got so much information that allowed Swag to, be confident that he could just come through secret, catch some people in the back or in the side. And he did frag out. He got 3 kills off of that. So really, really well done there by Swag, who is actually up to 22 kills. Most kills on the server with at least 6 more rounds to play. So he's on pace to have a big game here. He keeps this multi-fragging up. As we do have a bit of a 4 spot here from Cole. Not crazy. But it is going to set them back if they wind up losing this round. That's for sure. And Swag has already teed off 1.
Saw some plays down in the vents. It's like outside control still owned by Torqued, though. So they'll take yet another body. 4 spy from CompLexity is completely crushed so far. They need to be able to pick up a frag to make this even moderately worth it. FNS hears some shots ringing up behind him. Decides to take the close wall approach there so the player on the secret stairs wouldn't have an angle. But he ends up losing that fight anyway. So CompLexity have to go into a real full eco here at this point. Maybe some slight upgraded pistols. But Torqued do secure that rainy day piggy bank fund.
Yeah, the money's definitely building here on Torqued. Even after a full buy, they have a couple of players still in the 5K to 4K range. So definitely, even, a loss would still mean they could still get a full buy right afterwards. Plus, in a round like this, you expect to get it pretty clean. That's going to build up even more cash, like you said. So this is Torqued continuing to build that lead back up. They let it slip in the middle of the first half. CompLexity had a great recovery, even took the lead back for themselves, but Torqued are going to work to try to rectify that. Swag again with the multi-frag round in front of him. Does get cleaned out, but gets 2 on the way to the grave.
They're making a march up to recover that rifle. So Peter's going to be the owner of a brand new M4. Well, actually slightly used. Start things off with a grenade that he stole out here as well. Looking into the locker room, takes that first fight, and there was also a peek that was going to come out the backside of hell anyway. So eco round at least stabilized. Torqued only
we need
to
see something here from CompLexity because they're running out of full buy rounds in this half. I mean, if they lose this round, they're right back to, like a 4 spy or some type of save, and that's where Torqued's starting to get closer to 14. So they're not going to have too many more cracks if this is the point. And this is a round where they have, good utility, full head armor, AKs. Like, this is where you run your best play, like the one you feel the best about, the one that, usually succeeds. We'll have to see what that play is, as they are trying to get some outside control early on.
We're looking to see if Torqued are going to be playing on any aggressive stance. There's those smokes there that are choking things off, so they're just sitting and waiting to see if anybody's on those backside of those trash bins there.
Interesting to see Swag take the only op for his team. I mean, I know he's a secondary opper, but he's the only one with an AWP on the field, instead of a Kusta or a Steel, who also like to do some opping.
Smoke lands. Oh, it's short. Oh, it's actually the secret stairs that comes in. It's weird to watch it from Swag's perspective. The shoulder's there.
Hello?
How long does it take to
it must have been us, not...
It's client-sided, so the smoke rotates for different people. Different strokes for different folks. But Swag, better later than too late, He still stands. He's looking to completely reinforce this area. They're above and beyond this smoke, though. He'll take another one, and he goes for the no-scope on the neck. Finally, he falls. And it is a 3-on-4. Looks like FNS on the other side towards Ramp Room wins that fight. So it's pretty obvious now that there's going to be a lower hit with Secret and Ramp Room lost.
And Kusa's got their fallback, though, so as long as he holds an angle up here, they can't really escape back to outside, but if he peeks too far, he's going to give Peter a free kill. Luckily, Steel evens it back up, so he still keeps it at a 2v2 and still within reach for Torx, but CompLexity now have a way to win, but the problem is the clock is heavily against them. They need to get Pollo down cleanly, and they don't, and the bomb falls, and Finesse is too far away from it, I think, to be able to recover and get a plant, so this round should go to Torx.
Yeah, FNS shouldn't even be looking at anybody right now. Just dig your head in the sand and chill. He'll get behind that air conditioning unit and be able to bring the only armor and AK into the next round. They have $3,200. You could get a little bit of pistol action behind this. Not recommended, though. The only problem, like, let's say CompLexity, it did end up winning that round in that 2v2 situation. Torque have plenty of money to be able to rebuy into that and could actually give you another reset. Like, CompLexity, or imagine a skipping stone, like they're getting like 1 skip, 2 skips. Yeah. So they're not able to clear the gap. So they're gonna go for a really fast play this time, though. The flashbangs are there. Steel's blind as a bat. And the bomb, Peter would be brave to plant this, but the cover fire from the team is superior.
He's going to get it down, but AZK is a really quick flank through Hut. He's already found 1 kill onto Android. Now Kusta's chiming in from the door, getting a little bit dangerous for CompLexity. Their players are very low on HP, and Swag and AZK are pretty healthy, and Swag from heaven. He's able to use AZK as a distraction to sneak behind and multi-frag yet again. He's above 30. He's at 32 kills with at least 2 more rounds to play. Really well done by AZK and Swag on that retake. And it's getting scary for Cole.
Yeah, CompLexity wasn't looking up. Nobody was looking towards heaven. So Swag had one of the easiest.
Yeah.
Just, like,
they were so focused on AZK and Hut. I mean, they were getting him down to really low HP, but they just couldn't finish him off, and that gave Swag the way in.
Yeah, and it was one at a time for him, too. There was no opportunity for a double peek for CompLexity, like 1 player behind the box and then 1 player on site, and a player from the box stands up or something. It was just not a good look for CompLexity. So they're looking to patch some of the wet work that they got going on here, and their loss bonus is maxed out. And the bomb plant in the last round is at least going to help out. But they would need another bomb plant again to feel comfortable, at least utility-wise, in the next. Because if CompLexity don't get the bomb plant, they're at least max loss bonus. They'll be able to get some AKs in here, but they won't have the mollies and the smokes and all the flashes that they want.
Also, I mean, Torch they're in a position where you're always going to be up against basically a full buy. Like, unless you win, 3 rounds in a row or something like that, Torque's always going to have... You're not going to have an easy round, is the point. And you're running out of rounds in general. As we do see CompLexity trying to get some outside control. That smoke wall is down. They're going to work towards Secret with it. Swag might look to actively defend, though. He does spot the cross, just misses a shot on Finesse. He knows what's up, though. He's trying to throw some spam. Doesn't hit any shots, and Cole do have lower. But Torts are certainly going to be aware of that. We'll just have to see how they want to respond and what their rotation is going to be like.
I mean, their position's known. Steel actually comes up the vents. He'll draw a smoke down, I think he threw. Steel now breaks the vents, and look, everybody's down here pointing their guns in these directions. Steel wisely doesn't peek this one, so he'll chill and allow AZK to help out from the ramp side. But the control room belongs to the T's. Now they can use all this utility widely across from the north to the south side of the sites. But this is interesting that you get all this action down here with bomb being planted. Or is it? Steel stops it at the absolute last fraction of a second. And CompLexity have 10 seconds to recover. Getting pulled apart at the seams, and Torch
really well
continue
done
to pull that thread.
See, that's the problem. If all of your forces are focused on coming through window and coming, like, through vents, or, you don't have any ramp room presence is the point, right? That means Torque can just anchor ramp room for themselves, and you set up crossfires at that point. Like, Steel basically played the safest position he could inside the site, where he wouldn't be immediately spotted by anyone coming out of any of the squeaky doors or the control window. Like, pretty much the only way he was going to die is if someone came out vents and just decided to check that close angle. It turned out not to happen, so he's able to come out and get the bomb planter.
Yeah, that was
now Torque 1 round away.
It was really cool. They allowed them down ramp. But we're into this one already. Sorry, down secret. But they're allowing him into ramp. They hear him coming, pushing through that smoke. Peter's going to be the vanguard for the team, and the first bullet out of the rifle hits. He's looking for the next. AZK gets 2, but Peter also swings for 2 as well, looking for a couple more. but it is a 2-on-2. Bomb will get planted as the site has been painted red.
Oh, and there's Steel getting the kill, so it's all on Finesse with 5 HP, bleeding out all over the place, and he's ventured with the wheel to his name. He does tag up Steel quite low, but he can't finish the job. But Tort can. It's going to be 16-9 on their map pick of Nuke. A chaotic round, but Tort are able to clear through it. And so they'll move on to the second map of Train with the advantage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Train develops. Torqued, like I said, coming into this was an offensive pick. Torqued aren't necessarily really good at Nuke, but then again, CompLexity aren't either. So Torqued was basically saying, you know what, we're going to be able to out-aim you and out-maneuver you on this really tightly compacted map. But on a map like Train, it's huge. It's going to come down to a little bit more set strategies, I feel like, and CompLexity might have a better look at that.
Yeah, when you look at the scoreboard here, again, a monster game from Swag, 33 kills, 122 ADR.